Today, we're going to be giving you the 10 best questions to ask someone on dates. These are the same 10 questions that we asked each other when we first met. This allowed us to make a deep connection fast. We ended up getting engaged in 6 days, married in 3 months, and have had a very successful marriage so far.
We've listed these questions in order from how easy they are to ask to how challenging they are to ask. The first few questions you can ask anybody that you're trying to get to know on a deeper level, while the last few questions are questions that you're going to be asking somebody once you decide you might want to pursue a relationship with them.
These questions aren't one-worded answers. They could spin off into a range of different conversations that could last the entire night.
Be sure to stick around because the last few questions are super juicy, and these are going to be the make or break questions that will really determine
whether or not this person is really the one for you. I'm Cam.
And I'm Jess.
And we're the Connected Travelers. Here on our channel, we discuss all things connection. Connection to yourself.
Connection to others.
And connection to your environment. When asking someone these questions, especially on a date, you can just slip them into conversation, you can be quite inquisitive about it, and they're actually going to do wonderful things for your date because you're going to have deeper and more meaningful conversations, you're going to get to know the person better, and you're just going to have an all-round better experience.
And these questions are also good for you to ask in your current relationship to determine whether or not you and your current partner are going down the same path.
The first step to finding the one is getting to know yourself. So grab a pen and paper and write down these questions as we go along and answer them. What this is going to do is let you know more information around yourself to make sure that your answers match up with somebody else's. This is going to save you more time on your quest for finding the one.
After this video, once you've answered all of these questions, go through and on a scale of 1 to 10, figure out how much are you willing to compromise on each of these issues.
That's going to give you a really clear understanding of what's most important to you and what you're not willing to compromise on at all. All right, here we go. Question number 1. What does your idea of success look like? This is a fantastic question on a first date because it can be asked very lightly to lead into conversation, and it gives you an opportunity to ease into deeper conversation and deeper connection.
And the question is really asking, what does success mean to you? Is it a financial thing? Is it a state of mind? Does it mean having a big house and a fancy car? Or does it simply just mean living a life that's super fulfilling and brings you a lot of joy? All right, question number 2. What does a good time look like to you?
All right, so when asking someone this question, I think it's pretty straightforward, but you want to find out what are their hobbies, what are their interests, what does their week look like? Do you have anything in common, or whether the person is introverted or extroverted, whether they have a big social life, whether they have lots of friends, and how you could potentially fit into their lives. All right, question number 3, it's time to get a little bit deeper. What is your relationship like with change? What this question is going to give you a good indication on is if this person is going to be in the same place that they are now in 5 years and 10 years.
A lot of relationships end because people grow apart instead of grow together in a relationship. So that's what this question is referring to, so that you can gain an understanding of whether or not this person is someone you can grow and change with, or whether or not they're going to stay in the same place while you are growing.
Do you want to grow and change?
Yeah.
Are you willing to grow and change with a relationship as your relationship develops? Because there are changes that need to be made in order to accommodate for a successful relationship. Alrighty, question number 4. Are you family oriented?
There are 2 things you want to figure out with this question. 1, you want to figure out what kind of a relationship do they have with their family. Are they really close with their family? Do they have a healthy relationship with their family or not? The second thing is you want to figure out how much of an influence is this person's family on their life and on their life decisions. When they're making big life decisions, are those decisions going to be based whether or not their family approves or whether or not their family is nearby? Is their family a really big part of their life? That's really what you want to find out here. All right, question number 5. What do you want your future to look like? In other words, what do they see themselves doing in 5 to 10 years? What do they think that their life is going to look like in terms of career, in terms of whether or not they want a family? Do they want to travel? Like, what are their future ambitions?
And if they're not 100% sure, you can always ask them in an ideal sense, what would their future look like? Alrighty, question number 6. What does an ideal relationship look like to you?
So here you want to figure out for yourself and for them, are you the type of partner who loves spending all of your time together, or do you prefer a lot of independence in the relationship? Are you and are they the type of person who wants to do all sorts of activities together, or do you want to keep your hobbies and interests separate from each other? How much time do you want to spend with each other? That's kind of where you're going with this question. And obviously people can answer it in whatever ways possible. They may think that you're asking, what kind of partner do you want? They could say honesty and open communication and things like this, which is obviously great and you want to know that as well. But the point of this question is really to figure out, what does an ideal relationship look like to them and to you? So these last 4 questions are the questions that you're going to be asking people once you've kind of determined that you have some similar interests and there's a really good vibe going. These questions might not happen right away in the first date. These might be questions that you ask on the second or the third date, because they're getting a lot more deep and a lot more personal when it comes to your actual relationship preference. So question number 7 is, what is your love language? So this is something that we hope you might have already discovered about yourself. But if you haven't,
not to worry. What your love language is refers to how you give and receive love. There's typically 5 different ways that people give and receive love.
1 is quality time. The second is physical touch. There's acts of service, words of affirmation, and giving and receiving gifts. Most of these are pretty self-explanatory, but if you want to know more, feel free to research love languages. There's incredible books, podcasts, there's so many resources out there that you can really dive deep into the love languages and even take the test for yourself to figure out which love language is yours. So this next question might be pretty difficult to ask, and they might not really want to give you an answer because this is something that's really, really personal. But it's extremely important to ask this question if you are really trying to determine whether or not somebody is the one. Because if you are planning on spending your life with them and creating a life together, it is crucial to figure out what their relationship is like with money.
Finances is a really important thing in relationship, and understanding somebody's relationship with money, how they value money, if money comes to them easily, if they have to work really hard for money.
Yeah, are they good at managing their money? Do they really care about making a lot of money? Does money just kind of come and go for them and they don't really care about money? This is what you really want to determine, especially when it comes to building a life with somebody. You want to make sure that you're on the same page when it comes to finances.
Alrighty, here we go, everyone's favorite one. Question number 9. Do you want kids? Alright, this is a confronting one, isn't it? Super important though. This one needs to be brung up in all relationships and needs to be talked about extensively and in thorough detail. This is also a big one when you write down the answers to these questions. You need to put in your scale of 1 to 10 how important this is to you, and you need to be able to communicate that to someone effectively, because if someone is a 0 or a 10, chances are they're never going to change your mind and you're never going to change your mind. So this is a big one if you want to save time.
Yeah, and honestly, one thing I have to say is that it absolutely blows my mind that I see in my friends' relationships and on TV and all these different scenarios where people have been together for years, or they get married and they still haven't even talked about whether or not they want to have kids.
And when?
This blows my mind. This is a huge, huge part of who you are, whether or not you want to have a family or not. It's a massive part of who you are, what your core values are, what you want your future to look like. I mean, this question alone is going to determine so much about, whether or not you might be right for this person or whether or not this person might be the one.
And just because you want something, never assume your partner does too. That's also a big one, is people going through the relationship assuming that they're going to have kids by a certain time and it not happening, and that just creates friction in the relationships. Now, it's not to say that you're going to go on a first date and say, I'm looking to get pregnant by next June 20. It's just to have a general idea. If family is something that's really important to you and you really see yourself having a family and having kids, how many you'd like to have, and a rough idea on when you would ideally like to see that happen. And if somebody's answer doesn't marry up to yours, it's okay. Maybe that's something that you can compromise on. Maybe it's not.
All right, last but definitely not least, this is a hot topic 2-part question. And it is, what did you like about your past partners and what did you dislike about your past partners?
Ooh. Doesn't everyone cringe when they hear about past partners? Everybody learns from their mistakes, and analyzing your previous relationships and somebody else's previous relationships is really important. And when you ask somebody this question, it's not about gazing back longingly into your memory of nostalgia of good times. It's about analyzing what you were good at in your relationship, what you might not have been so good at, what was really important to you in the relationship that might have been fulfilled or not fulfilled. What didn't you like about your previous partner, and what didn't you like about yourself?
And, you don't have to go into detail about whether or not they were dynamite in the sack. This is more about behaviors that happened in the relationship. Maybe there wasn't great communication in your past relationship. Maybe there wasn't a lot of honesty. Maybe you just didn't have that many similar interests with past partners. There's so many reasons why your past relationships didn't work out. And they don't all have to be bad reasons either. That's why it's really important to talk about what things you liked and what things you didn't like, because this is going to help you know, this person didn't like when their past partners did this to them. Then you get the chance to be like, I don't want to do that to them. Or
that's something that's really important to me. Maybe we're not compatible.
Yeah, so this is the list of the 10 best questions to ask within the first 3 dates. And like we said before, the point of these questions is to really get to know someone on a deep level. These aren't just your average, boring, what's your favorite color, what's your favorite food? These are questions that are meant to get to know what are someone's core values. Who are they? What do they want in life? These are the things that you want to know about somebody if you're thinking that they might be the one. How can you expect your partner to get to know you if you don't even know yourself? So definitely sit down with these questions, answer them, figure out on a scale of 1 to 10 how valuable each of these issues are to you, whether or not you're willing to compromise on them. And if you found value in today's video, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button.
Let us know in the comments down below how these questions worked for you, if you brung them up on first dates, second dates, third dates, or if you had a discussion with a partner you were already involved in, or maybe these questions help you get to know yourself better. Let us know in the comments down below, and we'll see you in the next video.